Hello everyone, Steve here from Tech Toy Tinker and Retro Arena. I wanted to take a few minutes today to give you guys an update on the status of the Smart Pro here. First thing I wanted to show you guys is the vertical arcade and specifically what you need to do to set it up just in case you have any issues on your own end right now, as Tomato's not quite released to the public yet. So it should automatically rotate like this. You'll use this down here. So with that, if you're having problems with your controls or anything like that, what you want to do is you want to go into the advanced menu here, and you want to stay in the quick menu. So quick menu, and then you want to go to controls. You're going to want to set your controls. You want right analog stick under analog to digital, and then D-pad up is right, down is left, D-pad left is up, and D-pad right is down. Excuse me. Once you do that, then you want to go into the mapped stuff here. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. You want to go back out here, and you want to manage remap files. You want to save the remap file. If you don't save the remap file, next time you come in, it will not have saved your configuration. So you need to make sure you do that. You can also apply the remap that you save as a global remap. So for example, I can go, this is the one I saved for 1941, but you can also save it for all, and then it'll save it for the entire folder. It's the option you want, to save remap for folder. And once you've done that, then all of your vertical games will automatically work. You also want Tate mode alternate to switch this way. Just some stuff that you guys want to keep in mind as you're setting up your device. Now, there's quite a lot of systems here. There's about 97 systems and 5 or 6 ports right now. I have been hearing some complaints about this device from YouTubers in the community. Things like the joysticks have a bit of a bounce to them in the calibration menu and things like that. And I have seen that happen once or twice, but the thing is, when you're playing PSP, your joystick having the slightest tiny bit of bounce isn't really going to do anything. And outside of PSP and maybe PS1, you're not using the joysticks. You're not really going to play Super Nintendo with a joystick. So I don't actually see that being a huge issue, personally. Other people have mentioned that the D-pad is too small for people that have big hands. But, I mean, I have big hands, I would say, and I don't actually have a problem with it. As a comparison, if I put my hand here and then put the device in it, the entire device fits in my hand. So my hand is slightly larger than the device as a whole, and I don't have any problems holding it. So unless you've got, gargantuan oversized hands, I don't foresee you having a problem. Also, some of the YouTubers don't have the current production model device, which means that their device has no thermals. When using those devices, things are intentionally clocked at a lower speed to prevent things like overheating. This device, however, during certain things, like when I'm playing Naomi, PSP, Saturn, Dreamcast, N64, I've got it clocked at 1.6 instead of 1.2, which gives a noticeable performance difference. I'll give you a couple examples quickly. I'm sure you noticed a couple little crackles during the intro when it was loading up. If you play this at 1.2 instead of 1.6, that entire loading sequence is crackly and sounds terrible. When you play at 1.6, it kind of smooths out a lot of the rough edges, so the majority of things like that are no longer an issue. You can see cannonballs there, you can see cave stories there. I do have every intention of adding a few more ports and systems. I would like to try to get standalone Yabasan and Scum VM as well. Right now, standalones that are being used are OpenBore and PPSSPP. And everything else is running through RetroArch. But I have no doubt in my mind we can get more standalones working. It's just a matter of time, just like every other device we work on. It's not going to be done in a week, but it will get done. Honestly, for the price point, I don't think that this is a bad deal at all. I mean, when I look at it on sale on AliExpress and stuff like that till the end of the month, it's $65 US shipped. And even when it's not on sale, it's still $80 shipped. So at the price point for performance comparison, I think that it's a very good deal. N64, depending on which firmware you're using, might be having frame skip set on. You either want to put that onto off or 1. There's really no reason to be running it at 4x frame skip. That actually hinders performance. It doesn't help performance. The screen is very, very nice. And I haven't had a lot of the issues that people have been complaining about on YouTube because I'm using the more up-to-date current version of the firmware. When I turn my device on, the game files are already there. I don't have to rescan the device every single time. That's not an issue. It's not taking a long time to do anything. I'm not finding that it's overly slow or taking, terrible. I'll just show you. I'll launch a game real quick. But I personally don't think that it's being slow. See, I pressed launch. You heard it go. Yeah. It takes a couple of seconds, but nothing insane, I wouldn't say. God of War is iffy on this, but most of the PSP games work fine. You really need to turn on 1x frame skip. Almost all the games work fine. Again, though, I'm running my PSP at 1.6 gigahertz, not 1.2. It is also entirely possible that I could push it up higher to 1.8, but I haven't tried it yet, and I'm certainly not willing to release 1.8 or 2.0 gigahertz inside of the custom firmware when I personally haven't had a large time to test it yet. The thermals do help a lot, but I'm not sure if they help enough that we can run the device at max speed and not have an issue. Max speed actually being 2.1. I keep pressing the wrong button, I'm sorry. 2.1 though, obviously 2.0, 2.1 generates a fair bit of heat. When you're running at 1.6, you can feel the heat, but it's not, I wouldn't call it hot. It just gets a little warm with the thermals in there. And being a little bit warm isn't a big deal in my opinion. There's many devices we have from many, many different developers, and they get a little bit warm. It is electronic after all, so, excuse me, getting over a cold today. We got Satellaview added. PSP Minis has its own category just because there's quite a lot of them, and there's a lot of PSP games, and some people might not want to sort through all of that crap. SFC is obviously Super Famicom. This is MSU1. Not all of the icons are made yet. I expect that to be done in the next few days. I will be releasing this image internally for testers, just to see what else needs to be touched up and things like that. If anybody wants to be a tester or help with testing for this device, you can just drop me a line through the website to contact us, and I'll get back to you via email. I don't really want to make things public on YouTube yet, as there is still a few adjustments and things that I plan to make. So all in all, these are a little weird. L2 and R2, I will give it that. But, I mean, the only thing I call them weird is because I got to push a little bit harder than I would like to. That's really my only problem with them. But if you're a tinkerer like me or some other people in the community, you can just open it up and you can do something about that very, very easily. I actually have an open device specifically to talk about this. So here's the internal, and this is where your button clickers are right here, right there, and right there. You could put a little piece of sticky tape or something small over top just to kind of make it stand up a little bit more. And then you'll notice that it clicks a lot easier. You don't have to push as hard, and everything kind of works itself out. It's maybe $1 worth of stuff to use. And also, I've seen a couple of complaints about the speakers sound a bit strange or muffled. They're not actually stuck in this position here. You can remove them and swap them around if you want, or change their angle. So, again, it's not ideal for an end user to open their device and move a speaker around, but it is free, and it is something you can do if you want to. You can see here, we got the Allwinner A113P chip. You got the RAM there. So that's a look at the inside of the device. Battery is 18.5 watt, because I'm sure somebody was going to ask me that. Super Game Boy is obviously the Super Nintendo Game Boy adapter, which means it'll colorize the games that you're playing. PlayStation 1 I've had no serious problems with at all. Somebody did mention that in some firmwares by default analog to digital needs to be adjusted. However, I don't see that as a bug or a problem. Anything that you need to go into the RetroArch menu and adjust is user configurable. That's never a bug in my opinion, because if somebody forgot to put a setting on, the user can do that themselves in 15 or 20 seconds. They just need to be familiar with RetroArch, which honestly by this point in the game I feel like a lot of us should be, and there's also tons of resources online about RetroArch menus and how they work and things like that. So it's really not hard for somebody to go just take a peek and, look, or even ask on the Discord for help quickly. I've only tested a couple games on N64, but again, this is running at 1.6 instead of 1.2, so there's a significant difference. Oh, there's some lag there. So, N64 is working, but there seemed to be a touch of audio crackle mixed in there. What I think the best option for that would be, well, the first thing that I can do to try to alleviate the problem, I can try to rebuild the core, I can try the other cores. If all else fails, I can do what all the other devices do, and we can just get standalone Mupen 64 to work. The reason I prefer to do it through RetroArch, if possible, is because it allows the user to configure the controllers and settings on their own. Mupen doesn't really do that. So right now I would say N64 does work, but in some games you're going to have to tolerate a little bit of audio crackle temporarily. It doesn't affect all games, though. I mean, like, I've played Mario 64 and things like that, and that doesn't happen there. Outside of the scope of this video, I could alternatively try cranking up the clock speed a bit and see if that helps. Because my device, like, I can feel, it feels warm, but it's not hot at all. I don't want to keep you guys for too long with this video, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here, but that was just a quick overview of what's going on and, where we're at with things and what's being worked on. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.